Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Pop Preview. I'm Sean.
I'm Alex.
And today we're watching the Dark Phoenix trailer number 2.
Why do I not remember that there was a trailer number 1? Yikes.
It's been a while since trailer number 1 has come out.
I feel like that, yeah, okay.
And
so we're due for trailer number 2.
Yeah, but there's just a lot of things that are unclear about where this is going, considering the Disney-Fox merger is on the precipice of closing. So a lot of people are thinking that this is either going to be the last X-Men movie, or because there's speculation that New Mutants may or may not be released. We don't know. Or if it does get released, it may not be released in theaters. It might get put on Hulu. So this may be the last X-Men movie. So there was a word of reshoots and all that stuff. So there's a lot of uncertainty here. But still curious to see it. It's been a while since we've seen the trailer. Hopefully we get a little bit more of what we're gonna expect to see. Any thoughts before we watch it?
Well, I'm just curious because I know that Sophie Turner has been cast as
Jean Grey.
Jean Grey.
She played Jean Grey in the last X-Men movie.
Right,
which
I have not seen. But so it's interesting to have her in a leading role, just to see what she'll do.
Yes.
As an actor, because at least with Game of Thrones, she's been just very downtrodden, and like that's been her whole role.
Yeah, but we've seen her grow as that show has gone on.
Well, yeah, but still, she plays a very specific character. Yeah, so I'm just wondering, and for so long too.
And this character's completely different. It has more depth.
So it's. I'm just wondering about that. That's my only.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how she's going to act in this way, because she was just okay in X-Men Apocalypse. It was not like, oh my god.
My guess was
Sophie Turner was a standout.
My guess was they didn't really give her much. The way they
that movie had a lot of problems.
That's what I was gonna say. The way they write these is like, I don't feel like they're really writing that.
Well, they were
like an actor.
I mean, they were alluding to this at the end of X-Men Apocalypse without giving that movie away. But I'm assuming if you're interested in this, you've seen that. But I'm still curious about how she's going to do. And we still get a lot of the players from that we see in the last couple of X-Men movies. We still set all the characters we know. Well, let's just watch the trailer and see what we think.
That sounds great. Let's do that.
For the trailer? Yeah. Still don't like that being.
Why did you make me do that?
Look at me. Focus on my voice. I'm not giving up on you, Jean.
She was my friend.
You're my family, Jean. Stop, no matter what.
Stop.
Did you just kill her?
Look. You're special, Jean. And if you stop fighting that force inside you, if you embrace it, you will possess the very power of a god.
Tell me how we fix this, Charles. Tell me what to do. I don't know what to do.
What they don't understand, what they fear, and what they fear, we seek to destroy.
This is your fault, Charles. I tried to protect her.
I'm scared. When I lose control, bad things happen to people I love.
The girl dies.
She's still Jean. We can still help her.
Sometimes you want to believe people are something that they are not. By the time you realize who they are, it's too late.
She's coming.
What do you think?
I had mixed emotions watching this. Like, I felt like at times I was like, oh, how tropey of you. And then other times I was like, oh, maybe there's a nice character moment here. And then other times I was like, oh, how tropey of you. So, like, I'm a little confused as to, like, because I haven't really been keeping up with the other X-Men films.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something I'm missing, but it just seems like a lot of pain.
Yeah, I mean, Fox, why? I mean, we don't know this for sure, but the way the trailer is cut, and knowing the history of Jennifer Lawrence and her disdain of the Mystique character as time has gone on, it looks like she gets killed.
Yeah.
Because she didn't like being in X-Men Apocalypse. She kind of mailed that in. If that's really not that debatable. To see her in this, the way it's cut, the way it looks like she kills Mystique, which isn't a bad thing considering Jennifer Lawrence doesn't really want to be in this role anymore. But if you're gonna have her in just to kill her, I mean, they could.
How?
They're going to.
So what happens after that then?
Well, I mean,
so there's no Mystique going forward in any of the X-Men movies.
Well, it doesn't matter because once Marvel Studios gets a hold of it, all this doesn't gonna count anyway. So this is their kind of their last hurrah.
But that's a stupid choice. If you're looking at like fans of the franchise.
Yeah, I don't understand. Like you bring her back just to kill her. I mean, maybe that might be something that triggers the Jean Grey or Sophie Turner's character. It looks that way, but that being aside, the only thing I really hope about this movie is because obviously Fox, this might be their last hurrah with the X-Men, is that they tried to make this movie before in X-Men Last Stand and failed miserably, telling this kind of story. What I really hope is that they embrace the Dark Phoenix, and I think they are in terms of they're calling it Dark Phoenix, where she is the villain, where whether she gets manipulated to be that way or not, at this point I don't care. As long as she is the main villain in this movie, and they're trying to get her to turn her back to the good. But I hope there isn't anyone above her, like pulling the strings, and then they have to help her. She has to be turned back to fight somebody else.
You know it's going to be that.
But I hope that isn't the case.
It's going to be.
I hope she is the villain. She's the number one villain. Their job is to get her, and there's not. Oh well, we have to turn Jean back so she can help us fight somebody else more powerful.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah.
But my hope for this movie is that embrace the Dark Phoenix, because that's what she is. She's one of the most powerful opponents that X-Men go about in the comics. And obviously, you don't have to do what the comics do. Obviously, you could just take a story and then make it your own. But if you're going to tell a Dark Phoenix movie, and that's what your movie is called, embrace it. Let us see her turn dark. Let her see her, like if she's going to kill Mystique, let her kill Mystique. Let her get blood thrust. Let her embrace that darkness, and let her see the X-Men try to save her.
Yeah.
But let her be the villain. Let her be what they're trying to, what the movie is trying to accomplish. You can, if you want to have side villains or people that are trying to capitalize on Jean turning bad, I'm fine with that. But I want Jean to be the main villain. I'd be very disappointed if there's someone pulling her strings and eventually she turns good and uses her Phoenix powers against somebody else. I'd be very disappointed.
I would be very surprised if that was not the case.
I mean, we see Jessica Chastain. We're not 100% sure if she's playing Lilandra or not. They haven't come out 100% and say that. But if she is playing Lilandra, curious how the space pirates are going to play into that. But again, I'm really, really hoping they embrace the title of their movie in Dark Phoenix, because we see a lot of her in the trailer. We see a lot of her using her powers.
Oh yeah.
And the X-Men think, well, she kill us all. It's all your fault, Charles, for not helping her keep her power in check. So it's an interesting movie for the X-Men franchise that started in 2000. This is probably going to be their, whether we
swan song.
Yeah, without X-Men the New Mutants coming out, we don't know if this is probably going to be their song, to be honest. So it's an interesting movie for them to go on. I hope they get it right, But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because it's going to get rebooted anyway. It's a matter of when, not if. But it's nice to see Michael Fassbender back and James McAvoy because they've been doing those characters really, especially Fassbender. He's been a very good Magneto. He's had less to work with as time has gone on. I really loved him in First Class, but he's had a little bit less to work with as time goes on. He's become very tropey, with him wanting to do something bad, and then they kind of get him to do something good at the end and take a step back. It's very, very tropey with him, but and they're probably gonna do the exact same thing with him in this, or I hope not. But I'm just really hoping that the franchise doesn't go out on a whimper, because it is going out.
Well, yes, of course. And I mean, you talk a lot about like what the studio is going to do and what the franchise is going to do. But for me, I don't care. I just want to watch a good movie.
I agree.
So like my whole point is I don't care what they're going to do with, all these characters going forward. I don't care what's going to happen. Like just give me a good character and tell the story. Like obviously I'm not an idiot. I know that this is carrying on from things that we've already seen.
Yeah.
Like it's part of a franchise, of course. Like there are characters that are part of our collective consciousness that need to be dealt their hands in an appropriate way. But I feel a little differently. Like just I don't really care what they do with what characters they show us. Just like show me a good movie.
I know. At the end of the day, that's all that really matters, especially at this point.
Well, right, and of course, because of what you said in terms of like maybe this franchise will not carry over, or they're going to reboot it, or like whatever happens. So like you're right, everything that they do in this may or may not matter.
Oh, definitely, it's not going to matter.
Okay, so in my perspective, it's like just do something different, like do something really unexpected, do something that we would not expect. Well, yeah, that's what unexpected means, I guess. But you have Sophie Turner, someone who her biggest role, obviously, is just playing the conniving, young girl from Game of Thrones, where it's, she's very quiet. She doesn't fight. So this is a really interesting role for her to be in, to exert all of this physical energy and power that's obviously based on her emotions. So I'm really interested to see what she's going to do with this, but just show me a good movie.
Yeah,
like, and that's all I really care about.
And I still have some hope for it, only because they had some reshoots and they had to wait because she had to finish shooting Game of Thrones.
Right.
So when they came back, I'm wondering and hoping that they're embracing what you're talking about. Is that they know and we know that this is it. So I'm hoping that they embrace that this is it. I love that show too. Or This Is Us. That they embrace that and say, like, let's do something different. Let's not hold anything back for another movie, because there isn't going to be another movie. Let's do the best movie we can make now. We don't have to. We have the benefit of knowing there is no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's shoot what we're going to do and do it right here. But I still am a little scared and worried that Simon Kinberg is a first-time director doing this movie, even though he's been a part of the franchise from the beginning. I'm still a little worried that he's cutting his directing teeth on something like this.
I would say, and this is a really depressing thing to say, the directors don't matter in movies like these. They really do not matter. They are not bringing their original ideas. They're not bringing their style. They have to follow with what came before them. The producers and the studio is what is driving movies like this. Directors do not have a say, unfortunately.
I mean, it depends on how, in what context. Like in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, directors have a say, even though Kevin Feige is Lord, but he gives the directors the power.
But that's not the case in every
No, of course not. And Fox is known to meddle.
I kind of feel like maybe this is another one of those situations where it's like, hey, don't fuck this up. We have this thing going. Just finish it off. Don't do anything crazy. There's no way they would let a new director with new visions actually because it's written a certain way. You
I know,
have, you
but
have
I mean,
to go with the way it's written.
And he's been a part of writing them, but you're always worried about, because when studios, they're not making this movie to lose money, they're making it to make money, obviously. And when they usually have a first-time director, they usually try to Bigfoot that person and try to do it their way instead of what the director really wants to do. So there could have been some power struggle that way, especially why they are doing reshoots. So we'll never know if they're doing reshoots because they were unhappy with what they had before, or these were planned reshoots just to plus some scenes that they already did, or add something, do something bold and different like what you're wanting. We'll never 100% know the true story of it, but at the end of the day, none of that's going to matter if we get a very, very good movie and a way to say goodbye to these characters the way we know them now, because the next time we see any of these characters, it's going to be a Marvel Studios movie, and they're going to look and act completely differently than what we see now. So I'm hoping that Fox gets the movie that they can look proudly on. It's like, well, we ended the franchise as best we could. What that's going to mean, whether it does financially well or critically well, that remains to be seen. But I am seeing the second trailer gives me a little bit of hope that we might get something, because I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing from Sophie Turner. I don't like the fact that they kind of spoiled, or maybe they didn't spoil it that she killed Mystique. Maybe that's just the way they edited it together, but it kind of looks that way. I'm hoping that you didn't give that away in the trailer. You shouldn't have. You can tease us without giving something like that big away, but that remains to be seen. But
I mean, the trailer looked intense.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I'm intrigued for sure. But like you said, because of all the political things going on, and knowing that this franchise probably will end, it definitely puts a weird damper on going into it. So.
It'd be weird going in, because when you sit down and watch the movie, you know that really it doesn't matter what happens to any of these characters, it's over. Like, there's no like, oh, maybe if it does well, X might happen. Like, no, this franchise is over once this movie comes out, and it's gonna get rebooted. It's not a matter of if or maybe. It's just a matter of when Marvel Studios wants to reboot it and feel comfortable doing it.
Well, yeah, I mean, no one's gonna just drop X-Men being like, well, we're done telling those stories.
Yeah, like, yes.
Goodbye, X-Men.
You think Disney's been like, nah,
no
we don't want any of that X-Men money. We don't want any.
No, it's gonna happen. I mean, I will say, I feel like Sophie Turner, at least the shots that they chose for this trailer were very
wisely chosen.
Well, they were wise, but also it's intense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole idea behind Dark Phoenix.
Yes.
Is that it's like intense emotion. It's like, I can't control this. No.
That's what the character craves, is human emotion.
Well, right. But like, it did feel a little like, like I felt, well, and maybe that's a good thing. I felt drained watching it. So the trailer itself.
I mean, at the end of the day,
so maybe that's a good thing.
This can help propel her career even more, because I mean, once Game of Thrones is over, she needs something else to propel her, and maybe this is the thing to propel her moving forward.
I am really curious to see how.
I hope she does well.
What kind of an actor she is, because she's been so subtle.
Yeah.
Her entire career, at least in terms of Game of Thrones, has been subtlety, and there's like these small moments in her face that you see happen, and you're like, whoa. And then this, she's like, no. It's like, okay, this is a little different. Which
I like. I like that.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she's going to nail it, or maybe it's not her bag, but I feel like she's really grown as a subtle actor.
Yeah, and I love that she can play subtle, but hopefully this shows her that she doesn't have one note to play. Like, she can play this powerful, vengeful, hungry, driven character villain.
I wonder if she took any of the emotions from Game of Thrones and put it into this. If I were an actor, and I was
there's gonna be moments where you can be like, oh, that's Sansa there.
I'm like, Ramsay and
Yeah, like there's moments where you can be like, oh, she's got that from Sansa. Like, I'm hoping she doesn't like completely forget that character, because there's certain things that she can pull from that Sansa character into Jean Grey, especially what Jean Grey is going through, and especially what her past is.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping she doesn't completely forget Game of Thrones. She should use what she learned from there and apply to this. And I'm hoping Simon is the kind of director that can get that kind of performance out of her. And that's one of the things that you worry about having a first-time director. Can that director get the performance out of that character and consistently get it? It's the one thing to get it for a certain scene, like, oh, she nailed it in that scene, but it's something to get it out consistently. Knowing, like, all right, you have to portray this kind of emotion in this scene, and you have to do a completely 180 in this scene, and how to get that performance out consistently. That's one of the things that you always want a seasoned director to give. A brand new director this kind of a scope is a little worrisome, even though, again, he's been part of the franchise for so long.
Yeah.
It's, can you get that emotion out of your director, especially with a character like this is all about emotion. I'm very curious to see if Sophie's going to be able to do it and Simon can get it out of her consistently. But we won't find that out until later this year. I'm pretty sure we'll get another trailer and we'll do a review on that too.
For sure.
So what do you guys think? Start the comments below. Do you like the trailer? Do you think they teased, they showed us Mystique dying? What do you think? Are you curious how Sophie Turner is going to do? How do you think she's going to do? How do you think this franchise is going to end? Is it going to end on a high note, low note, note? What do you guys think? Also, like, subscribe, do all those great things. Make sure to hit that notification bell to know when we A, do the next trailer, and B, when we do a review when the movie comes out. But until then, I'm Sean.
I'm Alex.